We just got a new video of Donald Trump's biggest supporters sitting outside of the Manhattan courthouse holding a ritual to try to sway the trial in his favor. I also want to break down Tim Pool's disastrous interview of Donald Trump, but there was a while there where I was hesitant to call the MAGA fan base a cult. I thought it was a loaded word. I thought we risked alienating voters that were still on the fence, but after watching this video, it is unequivocally a cult.
America! Yes. Thank you for participating in this ceremony with us. To America, you guys are all blessed. The crooked press media, the liberal press media, you are all blessed.
The same people who lose their minds if you disrespect the US flag or if you kneel during the national anthem, then cut up the American flag and wrap it around them like a cape. And you know these people are MAGA supporters the way they looked at the media and called them crooked, liberal media after that. But is anything more emblematic of the modern day MAGA movement than seeing a bunch of performative lunatics trying to stop their king from seeing the consequences of his own actions? But in case you missed it, Donald Trump did a sit-down interview with MAGA influencer Tim Pool. He's the one who has never been seen on camera without his beanie. This dude will go to Mar-a-Lago events and wear a full suit with a beanie on his head. He also wore the beanie during his interview with Donald Trump, but that's not even the most ridiculous part about this interview. The entire interview, Tim Pool is absolutely licking the boot of Donald Trump. He is shoving the boot as far down his throat as he can. He even says that line where he's like, "They're not just coming for you, Trump, they're coming for me as well, and you're in the way." It's just really brain dead stuff. But I want to break down this interview and show you guys how it went so we're ready to combat these talking points. So Tim Pool starts the interview by asking Donald Trump how he'll take care of the immigration problem, how he'll deport all these people he's claiming to deport, and Donald Trump goes through his pre-written answers, but he can't give a real answer as to how he'll do it. The how part is what Tim Pool even asks again. He says, "Okay, I get that it's a problem, but how are you going to do it?" Watch how Donald Trump fails to give a coherent answer.
And I know that you've said that there's going to be the largest deportation effort in your next term. How do we do it?
So millions and millions of people are coming into our country, and it's not necessarily exactly what we want or had in mind. They have open borders where people just flow in, and many of those people are coming from prisons. Many of those people, frankly, are murderers, and they're drug dealers, and they're coming from mental institutions, and they're coming from places that are not going to work very well. It's not going to be very good for our country. So we're going to start with that, and we have to get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through.
So as I said, Donald Trump fails to even engage with the question before going into his pre-written dialogue about millions and millions of illegal immigrants coming over, but everything he just said was a lie. He says we're predominantly seeing murderers and drug dealers coming over, but that's not true. That's not borne out anywhere. Immigrants, even illegal immigrants, commit crimes at lower rates than native-born citizens. He also says that the border is open, but that's not true. We just don't have the mechanisms in place to process people, so they're coming over the way we see now. Not to mention, we had a perfectly good border bill on the desk of Congress that Donald Trump decided to nuke for his own political gain. So he doesn't actually care about solving this so-called crisis. He cares about extorting it for his own political gain. Now watch how Tim Pool asks the question again. He says, "Okay, but how will we do it?" And Donald Trump still can't provide an answer on the how. Spoiler alert, it's because he doesn't have an actual plan.
How do we do it, though? I mean, is it going to be new personnel?
It will really be done with local police. You know, the respect has been taken away. The honor has been taken away from our police forces. They're not allowed to do anything. And whether it's libertarian or not libertarian, you have to have law and order. You can't have 500 people walking into a department store and just walking out with everything they have. And we have to give honor and respect back, and I believe immunity, because, you know, so often when a police person does their job, they end up with no pension, they end up with no house, they end up with no family. Everything's taken away from them. They have to get their own lawyer.
Okay, how did that answer have anything to do with what Tim Pool asked? Tim Pool said, okay, but how will we do it? And Donald Trump launches into some rant about how local police aren't being respected enough and how they need immunity from their actions. It's another prime example of Donald Trump using vacuous rhetoric without having any real policy prescription. He does this with abortion all the time, where he refuses to stake out an actual position. He just says this rhetoric of let's leave it up to the states, leave it up to the states, which actually leaves each state up to doing the most extreme measures.
The things that they're doing to you with the court system is not just to you, it is to me, it is to everyone who voted for you in 2020.
It's true.
Give me a break, Tim Pool. He is licking Donald Trump's boot more than we thought was humanly possible. He's saying, they're not just coming for you, they're coming for me. It's total BS.
Are we going to get some good personnel in as Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and in the CIA?
Right.
And see some prosecutions?
So we had some great people because our trade numbers were fantastic. The jobs we did on trade, the jobs we did, frankly, in the military underneath the terrible television generals who were absolutely terrible, but we have incredible people. You know, we defeated ISIS, and we had no new wars because they were concerned with us. I had no wars at all. I finished off a war that we were in for 20 years.
Did Donald Trump just say he finished off a war that we've been in for 20 years? Because if I'm remembering correctly, Joe Biden was the one that pulled us out of Afghanistan using the timetable that Donald Trump laid out. We can give him that, but he will say that he actually pulled out from Afghanistan, then in the next breath say that the Afghanistan pullout was a complete disaster. So which is it, Donald Trump? And notice again how he also doesn't answer Tim Pool's question. He goes into this pre-written script that he has about, oh, we had the best people, we appointed the best people, despite him having a 90% turnover rate and fleecing his cabinet over and over. This is one of my least favorite talking points. Donald Trump acts like he's this businessman who chooses the best people, but somehow all of the best people end up backstabbing him as he claims. Maybe you're just a terrible leader and people don't like to work with you.
In terms of foreign policy, perhaps is a little bit of a biased interview, but I think you're the greatest president of my lifetime.
I appreciate it.
And ending the wars that we should not have been involved in. Now the fear is World War III.
Yeah.
What are you looking at when you enter your next term to stopping the escalation?
Well, first of all, I'm the only one that is going to stop World War III because this man can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know where he is. And amazingly, it seems like he's going to be running. You know, it's a lot of people say, do you think he'll make it to the starting gate? Well, we'll see what happens. But if you look at Viktor Orban.
Why would we look to Viktor Orban for anything other than what not to do in our own country? Viktor Orban successfully ended the liberal democracy in Hungary, and that's what Donald Trump likes about him.
Look at Viktor Orban, because we don't want to see wars. I don't want to see wars. I was in no wars other than we finished a war with ISIS, and we completed it, 100% complete. But I don't want to see wars. I think it's so horrible, so unnecessary, so costly in terms of lives and money in that order. And destroying these countries, you know, you're destroying culture. When you look at Ukraine, that would have never happened if I were president.
The Ukraine war wouldn't be going on if Donald Trump were president because he would have immediately bent the knee to Putin and ceded Ukrainian territory without even thinking twice. Donald Trump has repeatedly floated this idea of having a peace deal with Vladimir Putin, but what happens when you make peace with Vladimir Putin is that he gets land, he pauses the war for about a decade and rearms, gets ready to go back into Ukraine, and then will relaunch the war in 2032. Donald Trump just wants to kick the can down the road to another administration. We've seen Russia do this with Georgia in 2008. They paused, then invaded Crimea in 2014, then paused, then invaded Ukraine as a whole in 2022. So no peace plan or negotiation will work with a bad faith actor like Russia. All you can do is use hard power and fight them back. My name is Adam Mockler. If you want to see me do a full breakdown of the Donald Trump Tim Pool interview, I can react to the whole interview uncut and just debunk every claim as he goes. Maybe I'll do it as a live stream. Just let me know in the comments below. Either way, leave a like on this video, comment a blue heart if you made it this far, subscribe, and have a great day.